agenda.
Gary, you saved the part one for you.
You'll all notice that Gary's a good reader.
You got an idea on this, Dave? I guess we can see it. Yeah.
Everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Mayor Westergaard,
Yes.
Beckman, Frank,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
Stankamp,
Yes.
Walton.
Yep.
Okay, anybody want to speak at public forum? Okay, consent agenda. Any additions or corrections? Okay. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Walton.
Yes.
Stankamp,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Okay, we have all the building permitters signed and approved.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Walton,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
Stankamp,
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Okay, city administrator report.
All right, I think start out with something good. Lester Paff passed his grade 1 water treatment, and grade 1 distribution last week. So kudos to him. The 450 purchase has been put on hold until we get the utility superintendent here. I would like permission to put the Dodge pickup that's down at the sewer plant on the bigiron.com. I don't think it's good for us to have that sitting down there and wait, don't let other people sit around the property, so if that's all right, I'll go ahead with that.
Sounds good.
Okay. The campground ice freezer, it looks like the compressor went out. Crawford Ice is now defunct, at least according to what I understand. They tried to sell it, they couldn't get it sold, so they're not returning our calls or anything. We're buying through a different vendor right now, so I want to let you know about that, and hopefully we can get a hold of somebody else. Glacier Ice is up in Storm Lake, but they get us clear out east to try to talk to them. So we'll see what we can do to get that going with this hot weather coming up. It's probably gonna maybe have to get a freezer or something down there. So we'll see how that comes out. Also talked to the campground about the part-time help with painting fire hydrants and street lights and that type of thing for beautification for Ragbri. We're going to start that next week on Wednesday, hopefully. I would also like permission to hire a part-time person. We're down to just 2 people in the parks, or excuse me, in the public works, and 2 in the electric. And I know we have 1, but he's young and doesn't have isn't 18, so he can't drive equipment and stuff. So I'd like to try that. I don't know how these kids are going to work out doing the painting, so you might be doing all the painting and that stuff this next part-timer. So if that's all right, I'd like to hire somebody, or advertise for somebody. Yeah, I'll go ahead and get that started. So. Also, just to let you know, if it's all right, the council approved the utility building clerk as a part-time position. I'd like to go ahead and get that out there. and get them on board and hopefully get them trained a little bit before the new city administrator comes on. Because Kay's, I don't know how much onboarding you're gonna want me to do, but Kay's gonna be pretty busy for quite a while there at first. I mean, she's probably gonna need a little help, so.
I'm not looking to actually hire somebody this time, just somebody to step in and answer phones and that, just,
Part-time.
yeah, part-time.
I'll just before we actually hire them.
Right, yes. Because there are days where both John and I have to be gone. And we either close the office, the mayor sits in, or we have somebody who just answers the phone and maybe take things.
And the last thing I got there is, I want to discuss the sweeper. I put a packet on your desk here. We'll just run through them real quick here. The top one here is from Mid Iowa. It's the Temco Model 600. It's the one we had prior that they demonstrated. Just to let you know. The next one on there is the rental agreement. It's $8,000 a month. If you remember, if we buy the new Temco, then we get 75% of that rental money back again. The Temco, the new sweeper, if it's ordered, will not be here until next spring. So we have to rent something during the winter.
We gotta rent it all winter, can we rent it for the 4 or 5 months?
We can just rent it for the 4 or 5 months and then we're done. Whenever we're done with it, we'll take it back. The next one is the Busher vacuum sweeper from Truck Equipment. It's the new one. We did not see that. That was the used one he had here, but it was the Model 60x T. You see that one's there for $290,000, excuse me. The Temco was, out there. The Temco was $335,414. The Truck Equipment is $290,981. The next one, if you go back, is the Johnson B60 on the used one. It's, I don't have it on there, but that's the $20,000. And if we buy from Truck Equipment, the new one, they're reimburses half of that, $20,000 to take the sweeper back. What's that? We did have the used one from Mid Iowa. That's in there for $106,000. And that's from Milford, Iowa. And my understanding it's in pretty good shape. That's the 2010 Temco, $106,465. So there's the 3 options: the new Temco, the new Johnston, and the used one, 2 used ones.
I guess my comments, considering we can't make a decision on this tonight, because it's not actually on the agenda, but I think we can at least discuss it.
Yes.
I know when they came up with last Friday, the 2 city workers that are gonna run or operate the machine, they really like the Temco. And with our discussion we had prior, we beat the used versus new in the past, and then we look at used again. But I think if you look at the numbers and stuff that we talked about during the beginning, I I'd just as soon be looking at the new one, and go with the recommendation of what the city workers had said.
I know they commented there's a lot less moving parts on the Timco to adjust in that, to pick up leads and whatnot compared to the Johnson.
But we won't get the paperwork and the sign and everything, we're not able to officially make that until next Tuesday at our special meeting. But that's my comments on it, plus the Temco is made in the United States, and it's owned by a company from the United States, so I just purchase local. And all the other ones, both are great machines, don't get me wrong, but, you know, the profits of the Temco go to,
Well, and even the rent agreement, you know, we're gonna get 75% of that back, you know,
that's, they're
off.
nice now.
It's gonna pencil out about the same, even
Right.
$10,000 in the end. We have it for, it's $8,000 rent, 75% back, that's only $2,000, and we have it for 5 months, that's $10,000, that's what the other one.
I based it on 6 months and I figured it up, $36,000 would go towards purchase of the home, based on 6 months.
And we can't take action, but we can get a consensus from the council that we gotta get a street sweeper here pretty soon, it's up in the bucket.
Right.
I'll play devil's advocate again, so I'm with you 100% on thinking we should get a new one. But my concern is that we're gonna be hiring new people, and it's gonna be a little more expensive to get people to come here, especially in the positions that we've got opening up. I'd like to see us just go down and take a look at this 2010. We've got some time to do that, and just, you know, Dale knows a lot about trucks, and that we bought them trucks, you know, dump trucks, and he's been a salesman, done a lot of different things. I'd just like to look at it, take a look at that and determine, we've got, what, 90,000 budgeted for it right now? So I'd like to see us take a look and then come back and do
But,
it.
you know, in looking at that, we took that one truck that the electric department, we budgeted for the electric department that,
That's 450.
not the 450, but that
Bucket truck?
bucket truck. We put that into the general fund, that budgeted item. It would make sense for me to pull that out of there to use it for the increase in costs of the wages. Because if you listen to the people in the community, we need to get that streaker thing going.
Yeah.
And I guess we could borrow from that fund for the increase in wages, because it was that we budgeted for that. I was quite good.
The money, the way I look at it, the money, you're saying it's gonna cost us, what, 75%? How much are you?
We're gonna get returned 75% of the $8,000 a month rent. Or it's gonna be applied toward the new truck.
What's the life expectancy of these? I mean, this was a
Well,
2010 now we're talking about, where the others were new, so what is the actual expectancy?
Well,
But it
the
depends on how often you run it and,
maintenance,
you know, spend a lot of time.
the thing about either one of these is they have a stainless steel hopper. Okay, so that mark's gonna last forever. They both have a pretty good warranty on them, and, you know, the one we have now is 24 years old. So with proper maintenance and everything, it's gonna last us 25, 30 years, I would suspect.
And if for some reason there are parts that need, if you get the one that's moved here, you don't have to order from another country and take forever to get something
House in
here.
Waco, Texas.
Yeah.
But I built in Waco, Texas, I'm not. Dealership is what, down by Omaha.
I guess that's my 2 cents on that part, Wayne, is that
Yeah,
with the option of the bucket truck, it's taken,
you're comfortable with the fact that it's good, so we should have some more, there shouldn't be a problem there, you know.
right,
You still expose yourself to somewhat of a risk with this being on 2014, I understand that. The 75% of the money that comes back, so he's getting 25% of it back, so that would be 40. So you say we're on 30,000, so you're looking at this, that's money we put down. So this would really get down to about,
300.
yeah, well,
Close.
yeah, so.
plus the 90.
I can't go down and look at it.
Are we gonna have a
Bring back
special
a medal.
meeting then, and
Well, we got one Tuesday to approve the action, I guess.
okay,
Dale gets back, maybe someone I can
run up
look
to
at.
Milford and look at it?
Yeah, I just
It's down in Des Moines.
Oh, it's in Des Moines now?
Yeah, it's traded in.
Okay.
So when you look at it, bring it back so we'll do the streets.
do that, you never know.
These ones, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that's all right, we can sit down, take a look at it.
As long as it doesn't hold up the process, I guess. My concern here is holding up the process too long. Because we've been bouncing this around, street sweeping around for quite a few years already. And if we don't take action next Tuesday,
Yeah, we gotta come up with.
we need to take action by next Tuesday, so we get a sweeper here and for all the functions that we have going on this summer. You saw how fast that one filled up just over on the block. You know, we just need to get it going. Because we beat around the bush for quite a while here and beat down other ideas and all that. I think we need to pull the trigger.
We'll be around, we'll go down to.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can go down with you.
Okay.
Just pick a day. I will not be here Friday. And graduation and stuff.
Okay.
What's up, man? Is that the end of the administrative report?
Yes.
Okay, Redberry update.
The Red Bright, this week, Red Bright is doing a pre-ride of the whole route from Sioux City to the other side of Iowa, going the actual route. They were here today to do their stopover as they will on the day, the week of Red Bright. They're very, very impressed with Lakeview as a whole and our progress as far as planning goes and flow of traffic coming into the town. They have nothing but good things to say and didn't have any suggestions of changing anything, so we're really on the right track. Any volunteers, again. They said they have 24,000, I believe, registered riders. The state patrol said that they expect with the non-registered that we should probably double that. So we're looking at maybe 40,000 people coming through Lakeview. Not all of them are going to stop, but a good portion of them will stop because we're looking at support vehicles and stuff coming into town for the riders. And it's a relatively short day. They were in town by 9:45. They put the squad line. So, but they averaged 16 to 18 miles an hour on a non-electric bike. Moving quite moving along quite well. But anyway, they're very impressed with our plan and stuff so far.
Thank you, Dave. And thanks to the committee for doing what they're doing. Okay, we have a presentation by the Lakeview Housing Development Authority. Hello, Kelly.
Kelly Bureau here, VP of the Lakeview Housing Development Authority. I have been an active member of this community, or this committee for over 5 years now. I want to start off by reminding the council of our mission statement. It is to facilitate and develop housing and economic development, present and future, for the general welfare of the citizens of Lakeview. The mission is to be realized by accepting gifts and donations of money and land, and distributing the funds to various housing and development projects that have been established by the board and members of this committee. We are a 501(c) tax exempt entity and a charitable purposes as nonprofit corporation. I'd like to stress the purpose of our authority and our understanding when we joined this committee of what that was. 6 points I'd like to point out. One being that we facilitate the development of housing. 2, facilitating the economic development projects. Number 3, again stressing this one, the ability to accept, own, and dispose of lands and the purposes of housing and economic development. Number 4, the ability to accept tax-exempt financial gifts. Number 5, the ability to accept financial contributions from public entities, including the City of Lakeview. And number 6, to write and submit grants to government agencies to financially support infrastructure projects for the City of Lakeview. Our relationship with the city is that we are a separate legal entity from the City of Lakeview. Again, over the last 5 years, this committee has been meeting nearly every month as volunteers, and we've pounded the pavement surveying the housing needs. We've personally checked with every vacant landowner, and at our own expense, have drove to other towns to investigate how they address their housing needs. I'm here tonight representing the committee to specifically talk about Outlet 20. The authority is asking and welcoming the opportunity to serve the city government by holding Outlet 20 and keeping the land for future residents' use. It is located in an upcoming neighborhood with all the new homes in that area, near all the amenities, including the park, walking distance to the lake. In this wonderful growing community that we all get to call home, we need housing. Everybody is aware of that. We need teachers, we need city workers, we need policemen, we need workers for the continued growth of this community, and including all of our biggest employers. We need housing. I live it, I see it, and I hear it every day. And I'm confident, again, you guys do too. Now, what are we going to do about it? Again, we're asking for the opportunity, the chance to do what we were created for, and to what we want to accomplish. Again, the housing need. So again, the authority is welcoming the opportunity to serve the city government by holding Outlet 20 and keeping the land for future residential use. And I wanted to add a few things as well.
Yeah. Came up rather suddenly, but the state of Iowa is basically putting out applications for grants. I only got 2 copies, so you guys can pass it on. But I've been working 3 weeks with Scott on his, this is leaving the building. And basically, this is a grant that is, I get the feeling that it's part federal money, but Iowa wants to make more houses, and that's a whole new program that they want to delve into. So one of the big hurdles that I've always seen about Outlet 20 is the infrastructure. And this is a grant submitted basically for sewer and water infrastructure, which I consider to be phase one of some kind of development that would happen down there. It's I think when the numbers came out, it was like 228,000. The engineer was EGR in Sioux City, and they had basically all the parts lists and everything for what was to take place down there. So if we could get the infrastructure in, then maybe, you know, we could go to phase two, and phase three would probably be finding a contractor, or I'm very keen on these prison houses that are made in the Newton Correctional Facility. Carla Janning from Region 12 gave us a really good idea about what they could do for us, and if I guess for 85 to 100,000, you can get one of these prison houses, which is 3 bedrooms and 2 baths, and it would give a chance for an LMI, which is a lower middle income person, and believe you me, when I looked at this census and I saw how many people, over 44% of our workers in town make less than 50 grand a year. So basically we're all low income or middle income anyway. So to be able to afford a house, if you could get one, you know, for 125, 150,000, get a mortgage, you own it. They're going to own their own homes. And the way it could work is we could maybe get a loan and put up one and sell that one, and then take that money and just leapfrog that money and just keep pushing it down the road. So eventually you're going to end up with 10 units on a cul-de-sac to outlet 20. And I figured 10 families times 6 people, maybe grandpa and grandma in there too, I don't know. It makes sense. It's 60 more people not turning the corner at the cemetery and going north to Sac City, you know, if they're working for Evapco. So any little thing like that that we could get, I mean, I guess after 2 years, year and a half rather, they make $22 an hour out of Evapco. So basically that's still only like 45, 46,000 a year. But they start getting incentives for profit sharing and so forth after that time. So that would be great if we could just keep some of that money in Lakeview. And I know that Wickers have, if we can get the sewer infrastructure in, Wickers have four really nice lots right there, just right up against that. What's going to be an extension of West Street. And so evidently all the engineering work, or the preliminary engineering work to this, has been bought and paid for. So all the numbers I used were all numbers that were compiled by Brian Wells at DGR. And I think we should try and make something happen like that. You know, now if it comes down to CW concepts, for me to do the grant application the way it is now, it would have to be for lower middle income people. And I'm calling it affordable workforce housing. There's a catch. We would have to have a public hearing on the 19th of the next council meeting. They have a very short window. They opened this grant up on May 15th, and they're closing it on July 1st. So the last available date to have a public hearing, and we have to send in the minutes of the meeting and everything. But we have to notify the public and have a public hearing, and so people, our citizens can come and comment about it and so forth. So I would be glad to, run a public hearing meeting or try to. If we could get a notice in the newspaper, maybe end of this week or beginning of next week, we'd have to go in probably, I think there's a limit for 4 days to 20 days. So you can't, the public hearing has to sit right in there somewhere in that range of time. So, I don't know,
How much grant are you applying for?
well, it was whatever was on there, and it's $228,000, and with a $50,000 contingency, so that's what Brian Wells said it was worth to put that in there, and it's got stuff like there's a couple retention ponds that go in here, but it looks like it could be a nice little neighborhood on a cul-de-sac down there. And in the grant, I wrote about all the beautiful things that happen at Speaker Park, Gail, with the slide and,
Splash pad.
yeah, all that stuff, so. It would be a dream come true for a lot of medium income families to be able to walk down to that park or go fishing in the lake and stuff like that, so. When can the council make a decision about a hearing, public hearing? Tonight?
Well, they can take action tonight with a motion to participate.
Can we do it?
So what you're asking is for us to take that property and donate
Donate
it.
it to us.
Yeah, and we'll hold it while we explore.
Right.
Yeah, okay, we'll hold it for you, and we'll explore the possibilities of keeping, because we heard that maybe there would be somebody who wanted to build sheds down there, and it seems kind of a shame to take all that land that's been cleared and everything else, and then build sheds. Now, where there is an apron that Mr. Reardon bought to put the train depot on. And that could be a perfect place to build some sheds, if we were to peel that off, because Hanson Street basically is commercial. So you would have all the spaces facing towards, with the setback, facing towards Hanson Street along that. And it would almost kind of shield our small community down there from the dust and the noise and all that kind of stuff, so.
What would it take for us to move that piece of property to donate it to?
It wouldn't be very difficult. There might be a situation where we have to agree that if they obtain the grant, that we would then convey the property as a city to the 501c3.
Yeah, I put it in there in the grant that basically we would partnership with the city. In other words, we have a bank account, but I don't think it's big enough for all that money, so. That money would be spent by the city. It's a challenge, but
Well,
we
gotta bring it on somehow, some way, so. The thing about that is that, if you wanna go with the housing, what I don't wanna see is somebody comes in there and says they're gonna buy 5 lots.
no, that ain't happening.
Okay, because I like to continue the process, well, maybe this year I'll put one up, maybe next year I'll put another one up, but try to make sure it was available that we get multi-housing going down there.
Yeah, we would have to have some kind of income parameters for who could actually purchase a home there.
Yeah, and I know other towns, they're, like, Arcadia is a perfect example where if they don't build within a 12-month period, they actually are given back what they paid for that lot is given back to the city. So, again, those parameters could be written in there when they purchase the property.
So would you determine how much the lot should be worth and how, lay it out that we?
I mean, I could. I mean, I might have some expertise on that.
Kind of why I was asking.
Well, but I think it would behoove us to consider being part of the building of the homes, like I said, the prison houses or whatever. Because then you've got sort of like everybody on the same income level there, and you don't have like you said, somebody comes in and buys a lot on either side of them and then doesn't build, and I mean, wow, we've been around that block like hell, yeah, so.
I don't know why we wouldn't explore it.
So you know, the city's already contracted with Healy, they're gonna clean all the trees and all the mess.
That's good.
Hopefully next week or the week after.
But, you guys would have, the city would have to work with it because we don't have resources to mow it until things start happening. And I don't know how long they're
Can I
gonna.
say something?
Sure.
When we formed this housing authority was when we were out at Dubuque, I believe, doing training sessions and talked to a lot of communities that were using a housing authority. And I wish I could give you more info on it. I think that the council and the housing committee maybe needs to do more research on what a housing authority can do for a community. Maybe Kelly knows more than I do. But I do know there were lots of towns that were struggling with housing, and they said, if you want to get housing, set up a housing authority, because you can move that land through the housing authority. There's different things programs you can use, and I just think the city has not used this at all. We need housing, and housing was talked about 3 years ago. We don't have any housing, and I think this housing authority needs to be used. Every other town puts in their infrastructure ahead of time. I don't know why we think we have to put it in house by house.
Well, the infrastructure for the sewer will be one big,
Yes,
Yeah.
if this program, yeah, exactly.
and then,
The city has to have some skin in it.
So you're looking for the city to be a partner in this, is that what?
absolutely.
We need a motion to say what?
But I mean, we can help guide the process, and we can hold the land, so it doesn't become.
So you want a motion from the council to allow you to hold grant?
And then to have this public hearing, so I can file that grant request by the deadline of July 1st. Now, it's probably, it's gonna be a difficult thing to pull off. I mean, you should see some of these weird questions they ask, so.
I think that's a very good, Jackie, did you?
Well, I just wanted to reiterate that it's imperative that lot outlet 20 is reserved for housing and not sheds.
That's the whole
I mean,
goal.
that's the whole goal. We don't have to decide tonight exactly what it's gonna be or who's gonna do it. But that the city take an interest in letting us work through this and get some affordable housing.
Do you need control of the ground for that public hearing?
No. Public hearing is just to inform the public about that. And I have to send all that stuff in, like the newspaper clipping and the whole bit. But, yeah, it's just to inform the public that.
What your intent is?
Yeah, that we're gonna try and keep it for housing, and that it's, that we're gonna play a little bit bigger role than we have, and this is a good group. They've got lots of great ideas.
Well, it becomes a win once you get that first one done.
Yeah, and you bounce them down the road, because they make them down there, and you pour a foundation or a slab, and
I have no problems with,
It's
I'm
just
gonna make a
work
motion
out.
that we, give them control, give the housing authority control over Outlet 20. That's what's needed. Somebody can, okay, a public hearing for the next.
I agree.
have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Walton, Muller,
Yes.
Stankham,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to the housing committee.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll get it, keep working together on it. At least we got that.
Yeah.
Way to go, Brad.
Yeah, I know. Again, thanks to the housing development.
Move forward.
I've been to a lot of your meetings, you're doing a good job. Okay, we have the closures for the water carnival, we need a motion to approve those activities.
I'll make it.
I'll
Second,
second.
roll call.
Stankham,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
Walton,
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna open the public hearing on the plan specifications.
As soon as we're done with that, Dave said we need to have a motion to have a public meeting for.
In the second motion for that?
Yeah.
Do we have that
We'll do
motion?
that well, we'll do that after this.
Public meetings and disposal of property.
We'll do that after
That's the
this.
public hearing.
So do I have to call the resort or,
Okay.
for this public notice, or is it the council that does it? I'm asking a question. You know, like some public notice in the newspaper, like that.
well, the city sent this, but I think it's got to be actually straight up.
Oh, I'll write it down. Now, so, yeah, Brent, look at it.
Okay, this is a public hearing on the plan specifications, form of the contract and estimate costs for the community center grading project. On grading, we have an engineer from back here, if anybody has any questions at the public hearing. Now is the time to speak up.
I would still like to say that I think this could be done in a more economical, better way. I'm afraid it's gonna be an eyesore, 9 foot deep, like size football field. I don't feel there's that much drainage. I know we had an engineer do it, but it's the same engineer that's cost this city a lot of money in the past. I think it could be done with a lot more common sense.
So my question is, this whole thing has been months that you've looked at this, months. The grants were put in, the city doesn't have any money in this project at this, in the grading.
I still oppose it. I just want it to be known that I oppose it.
That's fine.
Is there any more input in the public hearing? Not, the public hearing is closed. Resolution 2326.
Can we go back to this one?
Oh, yes, right. We have a motion on the
A motion to have a public hearing on the
Disposal.
disposal of property.
that was a motion.
Yep.
Second,
Second.
roll call.
Walton,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Stankham,
Yes.
Okay, resolution 2326 is adopting the plan specifications.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Muller,
Yes.
Stankham,
Yes.
Frank,
No.
Walton,
Yes.
Okay, resolution 2327 is making the award of the construction contract for the community center grading project on grading.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
roll call.
Muller,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Walton,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
Frank,
No.
Stankham,
Yes.
Okay, we'll need a motion to approve the easements of that project. We have that motion.
I'll make that motion.
Roll call.
Stankham,
Yes.
Walton,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
Frank,
No.
Thank you, Beck Engineering. Okay, we'll move on to the splash pad. We must have Gail give us some information from the park board.
When we came and talked about our budget for last year, we went ahead and talked about adding a new feature to the splash pad. They've been taking care of the items that are there by cleaning them out, and it's helped, but we have one major addition we would like to add, and that is the addition, we have a picture of it, of the flower. You guys want to see it? And when we had priced it initially, it was at $9,350. Well, I called Vortex this week and it's up to $12,020. We have the money in the budget, and if we do have to have the adapter flange kit to get it to fit, that's $750. And then the freight on top of those prices. But we felt that we would like to add another feature, and so I'm coming to the council to ask if we can use the budget money to do so.
How long will it take to get this?
He said roughly, probably 3 to 6 months. So we probably won't even be able to enjoy it till next year.
But it'll be 15,000 by next spring.
Well, at least, because it's already, the one item we priced was, the other item in addition to this flower, that was $5,400, and now it's $11,600. So,
Mine is a bit old.
yeah. And then I'll have to have some type of letter, that you guys are gonna allow us to do this, and I have to make a phone call and then it's ordered, so. That's all I came to ask, is permission to spend money,
Yes, no, we're
instead
working
of
hard at it.
saving, sorry.
But the park board does a nice job.
Thank you,
All your volunteers.
Yep.
thank you.
Did a nice job painting the sign.
You did too.
Yep. Okay, what would the council like to do?
Make the motion that we approve the
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Muller,
yes.
Stankin,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Walton.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks to the park board for all they do.
Thanks.
It's a nice park.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a pay estimate number 3 for the 175 water main project. Do we need a motion to approve that payment?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Muller,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Walton,
Yes.
Stankin.
Yes.
Okay, we have a change order on the Northwest Loop project, change order number 1. That's where they couldn't hook it up to the curb, the main was bad, so.
There were 2 modifications here. One was on the east or western side. When they dug over there, the pipe was out of round, so they had to move over 15 feet, so it cost to redigging. And then the same over there on Jackson Street, the location where they were going to connect into, had a old culvert under there, so they had to move over and do the same thing.
It's been approved by the engineers. Do you have a motion to pay that?
I'll make that motion.
Roll call.
Frank,
Yes.
Walton,
Yes.
Stankin,
Yes.
Muller.
Yes.
Okay, we need to consider the appointment of Dean Hubrich and John Scott to the library board of trustees. We have a motion to approve
John?
that. Oh, Judy?
I just caught this. Actually, John Scott is the representative from the supervisors. So I mean, you can approve him that he is on the board, but the supervisors actually have to appoint him. He is our rural representative.
And then we'll appoint Dean.
Just Dean.
Dean.
I'll make that motion.
Tammy second. Mike, motion.
Mike was first,
Yeah,
okay.
Tammy second.
It sounded like at the same time.
We flip a coin.
Yeah.
Okay, Frank,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
Walton, Stankin.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 2328 is granting a variance to Todd and Teresa Kraus. Been approved by the variance board. We have a motion to approve that.
Second.
Roll call.
Walton,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Stankin.
Yes.
Here's an option, we go to page and a half on this agenda. Okay, resolution 2329 is hiring some more police
We need
officers.
to
Chris?
approve the actual building permit too.
Oh,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
roll call.
Frank?
Yes.
Muller?
Yes.
Stankham?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Told you 2 pages was too many. Okay, Chris, you got some information for us?
Yeah, I'd like to present a letter of achievement to Dan. Just have him step up here. So, everybody knows Dan is officially retiring now. So,
Good for you.
everybody reported that. It is a great honor to present this letter of achievement to Officer Dan Brewster. Officer Brewster's dedication as a law enforcement professional is distinguished by a storied career that spans over 47 years. In 1976, Officer Brewster began working part-time for various departments within Sac County, including the townships of Lytton and Auburn. His love and passion for the job landed Officer Brewster his first full-time position in 1983 with the Clarksville Police Department. After short stints with other small departments, Officer Brewster landed a position with the Osage Police Department. After 12 years of service with the Osage Police Department, Officer Brewster made the decision to move back to the area where he grew up, taking up a position with the Sac County Sheriff's Office. In March of 2013, after 37 years in law enforcement, Officer Brewster retired. Although his retirement was short-lived, and he immediately began work on a part-time basis with the Sac County Sheriff's Office. Finally, in June of 2017, Dan began working for the Lakeview Police Department as a part-time officer, while working concurrently with the Iowa Department of Transportation in the motor vehicle testing area. On May 21st, 2023, Officer Brewster recorded his final tour of duty, ending a storied career. During the early years with the Osage PD, Dan was a pivotal member of the Northeast Iowa Task Force. The task force, which is still active today, is a multi-jurisdictional task force used to combat the sale, transportation, and use of illegal narcotics. Furthermore, Dan was a key board member for the development and implementation of a statewide case reporting system. While working for the Sac County Sheriff's Office, Dan became the first member to deploy a narcotics detection dog within the county, and was an initial responder to a murder case that garnered national news. Finally, Dan was always willing to support the Lakeview Police Department, and when the department was transitioning between chiefs, Officer Brewster took up the mantle of interim chief of police. During this time, Dan ensured that the day-to-day operations continued, and the department maintained a level of continuity. Dan's loyalty and dedication were critical to the success of this department, and we were fortunate to have such a dependable, innovative, and dedicated professional. Dan deserves this recognition, and it is an honor to present this letter of achievement for his distinguished and storied career. Thank you, Dan. We get the mayor to come up.
We want to stand right in front of you so we can do it.
Yep.
I want to be in the picture because I like Dan. I'm going to get a picture for Penny, but as long as Dale's here, we'll let him.
There you go, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. All right.
Okay, you want to tell us about the, we got a picture?
So who we got, wanted issued is Nels Olson. He's a reserve officer from Crawford County. Wanted to get into law enforcement full time, so, we said, come on up, work for us, we'll help you out. He'll be a good addition to our department. The one thing I'd like to ask is, I know our reserve pay is low, and I'd like to see these guys, where our non-certified officers are as far as pay, which is around $21 an hour.
paying what now?
That day, 18 bucks an hour.
Yeah.
I know everywhere else they're getting at least 21. There's even a department that's giving the reserves 30 bucks an hour, so I mean, what do you make roughly? But, yeah, you're just reserves,
Yeah.
they don't count the towards them.
And you're certified?
I'm a certified reserve.
How does that work with the certified reserve and the certified?
No, you go to the reserve academy, we have half the number of hours in the reserve academy, and like full-time guys would.
Yeah.
Or ongoing back.
Full-time guys can do everything. Reserve guys are limited.
So we don't do it. So all certified.
And they always gotta have somebody available whenever they're working. Which we've got a reserve around here for that. Definitely a guy, I can see him moving into a position down the road, which would benefit us, especially when it comes to hiring. If we can get a reserve guy like this on board already, and it's building our own pool, definitely would help out. And believe it or not, he reminds me a lot of Royce. The way he comes off, the way his demeanor is, how he talks to people. Very, very outgoing. Be real good with the public, I think.
I'll make the motion for $21 an hour.
Second?
Second.
Would that be both of them, Kane also?
Yes, we did. You can't hardly.
Yeah, you gotta do them both.
We found out we have to pay more.
Yeah.
We're not getting anybody.
Dave's been a big part of what we're ahead of the water right now, so he's a big part of that.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Roll call.
I did.
You seconded it?
Yeah.
No,
Sorry.
I didn't.
That's okay.
That's okay. Stacia?
Yes.
Mulder?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Walton?
Yes.
Then we have,
I'd really like to do police uniforms. Yeah, this is gonna be standard. As soon as we figure out where them electric bikes that Dave drives around, this is gonna be right here. The second guy is a certified officer, George Athens. He's currently working at the sheriff's office. He was executive up there. Yeah, he used to work down in Florida. Knowledge-wise, there's probably nobody that knows more than he does. He's actually been, I've seen more convictions coming from cases that he's had in the past year than I have in my entire career. He's not the guy that's going to go out there and tear up traffic. He's going to be the guy that's going to go after the ones we don't want around, the ones that cause problems. And he'll get the job done. Very professional, very well liked. Used to work with him every once in a while.
I actually worked with him down at Dunlap when I was a woodbine. Loved him. I love the guy. Love to have him come on to the development. He'd be good at stuff.
everybody read resolution 2324? Hiring George? Any questions? Otherwise, we need a motion to approve.
I'll make it.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mulder?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Walton?
Yes.
Thank you, Chris. And the crew.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard, Bill. That way you don't have to work every weekend, Chris.
I know, thank God.
Yeah, but you're good at it.
Yeah.
That's right. You look good on that bike.
Right.
Okay, we have to have a motion to accept the resignation of our utilities, assistant utility superintendent, regretfully.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Mulder?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Walton? Thank you.
Yes.
And we're gonna officially approve.
Yes. Means that the council and the mayor and council decided to delay hiring the assistant until we know whether we want to have a electrical side or the public works side, I think that probably will need somebody out there. So my recommendation is Trent Iverson for the interim assistant utility superintendent. I have spoken with him that if something comes up and it is the electric side, he understands we'll go back to the lineman first pass play.
Is there a motion to consider the appointment?
So
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mulder?
Yep.
Frank?
Yes.
Muller?
Yes.
Stankham?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 527, this is
Can
a
I,
second.
can I comment
Yes.
on that? I just, I don't know what all the issues are. Jeff Ross was an excellent employee, and it's really a sad decision to make. And the fact that we're losing an awful lot of employees, I mean, I hope we're certainly reviewing our procedures.
Yes, we're struggling right now.
We'll get it finished.
Hopefully. Okay, second reading of ordinance 527, about the parking.
Make the motion to
Second?
approve the ordinance.
Mayor? You didn't do the salaries and wages
Oh,
for, like Chris, the police chief and whatnot, all that needs to be filled in.
I missed that. Okay, then we'll go to 23,
It's on
29.
page 35 of your,
Yeah, 35 is the page.
yeah, of your packet. It would be one employee who would be left as far as, setting wages for, who would be covered under the union contract.
Would be, where's
Correct.
she? Yep.
Would she, yes? You'll see that it was 3% for the,
Rest of it.
rest of it, yes.
And we're painfully aware that we need to pay people to keep them. But, yeah, not to keep in mind.
I want to make this comment, that especially on our police department and everybody else, but especially on our police department, all the activities that Lake View has going on every year is a lot more than any other city, especially in our county. We have a lot of things going on in Lake View that are very positive for the community. And our police department is called upon for each one of those activities. So in my mind, our police department is worth more than the average city our size, only because of that fact that they're called on more because of all the positive things we have going on in our community. Because it's a lot more work. So I guess I want us to keep that in mind when we talk about, for example, the chief position.
I'm gonna make the motion to keep it consistent with the rest of the employees and 3%.
So I'll just let you know, 3%, I'm not gonna be here. That's not worth it. I can go back up to county and make more than that. I can go pretty much anywhere in the state and make more than that.
What are you looking?
25? If I look at what you're looking to give the new city administrators and everyone else, I mean,
The motion will die for lack of second. Anybody have a number to put in there?
Chris, I appreciate things doing. Like I said, that, right now with the current financial situation, if I
I'm just figuring out. Do we do, where do you have top there, 72? Is that right?
Yep.
Yes, sir. 10% would put you right at 80, just a little shade under 80, so. I think that's a good raise, and 25 is pretty high for it, for me, but, like I said, that'll put you up to 80,000, what's some of these other, what are some of these other chiefs? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I think, John, I think it's over a 2-year period, it's like between 12 and 14%. So, let's do it 2 years at 15%, over the 2 years, however you want to split it. Just give you a little bit more this year, and then the rest next year.
So what's the
15% would be how much?
15 would be over 80, 5.
You would split that over the 2 years, you say?
Yeah, you can give me 10 this year, 5 next year, or something like that, or 8 this year.
Roy, me? Roy, me? For 2 years?
Yeah,
That will keep them around.
yeah, when you do the 8 1 year and 8 the next.
Yeah, 'cause I don't know.
We don't want you to leave. But at the same time, we're in kind of in a bind right now with all the other hirings too, so if you could kind of let us work, get through some of this.
I can do that.
So we'll go 8% this year, 8% next year.
I'll do that.
Okay,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Stankham,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
Frank,
No.
Waltman.
Yes.
Okay, now we'll try the second reading of ordinance 527. A motion to approve 527,
I make that motion.
second,
Second.
roll call.
Frank,
Yes.
Stankham,
Yes.
Waltman,
Yes.
Muller.
Yes.
Just so the council's aware, I think we need to talk about another ordinance on parking, so we keep the semis off the roads. Like the other day.
Because we have an issue down on
Lake, right, but we'll have to, if everybody's okay, we'll put an ordinance together for our next council meeting, or do
Yes.
something. We gotta stop that. There's nowhere to park for a concert.
So, on this current ordinance, maybe
Move to waive the third reading,
third reading, I'll make that motion.
second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
So you're making a motion to
Waive the third reading.
Waive
waive the
third
third
reading.
reading.
Yep.
Waltman,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Stankham.
Yes.
Didn't we always have to do another motion after you did
Yeah.
that?
Yes, we did.
We did do a motion to approve and then a motion to waive.
Right.
We're not doing backwards.
We need a motion to finish that.
I think we do.
Or something that we always have to do after
Yeah,
we
the
make it.
second,
Yeah.
third reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this would be the second reading.
Okay, roll call.
So you need a motion to approve the second reading and then a motion
Right.
to also to
Wait.
waive the
They
third
need to
reading.
waive the,
Well, we just did that.
That's what we just,
The second
waiving
And
it.
then you want one to
and put the
approve.
final passage.
Okay,
To
so
approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
Final.
Second.
roll call.
Muller,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Waltman,
Yes.
Stankham.
Yes.
Is the city clerk happy now?
She's just trying to get it right.
Trying to get it right there.
Yeah, I know. Okay, ordinance 528 is our authorizing direct execution of the agreement between the city of Lakeview and Maine.
This is the one that we froze for 5 years?
Yeah. Locked it in.
Agreement, I should say.
Yeah, we locked it in for 5.
And they, and meet required, ordinance, right? For approval.
I'll make that.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Stankham?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Walton?
Yes.
Muller?
Yes.
You want to wait readings on that?
You can, or you can go to the second one. It doesn't expire until 24, so
Okay, well then we'll wait.
we'll go maybe wait third or second, but the third, next time.
Anybody have anything else? Otherwise, we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
Being adjourned. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Good job.
Thanks. Thanks for support.
Glad somebody does that stuff.
Oh, yeah, I put it somewhere right over there.
Remember you doing the street sweeping?
That'd be the next Thursday, isn't it?
I think I saw something.
The 15th on the 5:30.
Yeah.
I'll take it all back.
I know. Good job. Then they're going on Thursday night.
It was a team effort, Judy. Judy, team. Yes.
All night at 5:30.
Yes.
Joel call.
Oh, the one that wants to check it out.
After the fact, so it's going to be a good one.
Staying in front of that Lakeview, Iowa solar gas.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Yep, we'll be here.
You betcha. Thank you for coming, I appreciate it. Just in case I have a question.
Yeah.
Stand in front of there and snag it real quick. Okay, here we go, 1, 2, 3.